Mila Carter stepped off the train and felt the cold breeze of Ashbury brush against her face. The small town was cloaked in the soft glow of twilight, its narrow streets lined with old stone cottages and flickering street lamps. Mila adjusted the strap of her worn leather bag and took a deep breath. This was not the kind of place she was used to, but it was where she had to be. Her assignment was clear: investigate the recent disappearances that had left the townsfolk whispering in fear. Every midnight, someone vanished without a trace. The local police seemed baffled, and no one wanted to talk openly. Mila's curiosity sharpened with every passing moment. As she walked toward the town square, a strange chill ran down her spine. The silence felt heavy, as if the night itself was holding its breath. She noticed an old clock tower looming over the square, its hands frozen at midnight. It was a peculiar sight that made her heart beat faster. At the inn where she was staying, Mila overheard hushed conversations about the disappearances. An elderly man muttered about a cursed family heirloom, an ancient clock that was said to control time itself. Mila's journalistic instincts kicked in. She knew this story was far from ordinary. That night, as the clock tower struck midnight, Mila's room grew inexplicably cold. The shadows seemed to stretch and twist. Just as the clock's chime faded, a soft whisper reached her ear, and then everything went dark. Mila awoke with a start, her heart pounding in the dim light of dawn. The whisper from the night before lingered like a faint echo in her mind. She sat up slowly, eyes fixed on the old clock on her bedside table, its hands moving steadily now. Yet, the memory of the frozen clock tower outside gnawed at her thoughts. Determined to uncover the truth, Mila dressed quickly and stepped outside into the crisp morning air. The streets of Ashbury were almost deserted, save for a few early risers and a black cat that watched her from a fence. The clock tower stood silently, its face cracked and weathered, but the hands no longer frozen. Mila made her way to the town's library, hoping to find some records or clues about the mysterious clock and the disappearances. Inside, the musty smell of old books filled the air. The librarian, a stern woman with sharp eyes, regarded Mila curiously as she asked for anything related to local legends. After hours of digging through dusty archives, Mila found a worn journal that belonged to a man named Thomas Grayson, the clock's original maker. The entry spoke of an experiment to control time itself, but with a dire warning: tampering with time would come at a terrible cost. Mila's mind raced as she read about the vanishing hour, a moment each night when time seemed to fracture, and some souls slipped into another realm. The journal hinted at a family who had guarded the clock for generations, but recent events suggested someone had broken the sacred trust. As evening fell, Mila returned to the clock tower. The town felt different under the darkening sky. Quieter, heavier, as if waiting. She noticed a faint glow coming from the base of the tower, a soft pulsating light that seemed alive. Her breath caught when she saw a shadow move quickly across the corner of her eye. Heart hammering, Mila edged closer to the tower's entrance. The door, once locked tight, now stood slightly ajar. She pushed it open, the hinges creaking loudly. Inside, the air was thick with dust and a strange electric charge. On the wall hung the ancient clock mechanism, its gears slowly turning on their own. At the center, a small compartment flickered with a faint blue light. Mila reached out her hand, trembling. Suddenly a chilling voice whispered, "You should not be here." The lights flickered and the room plunged into darkness. Mila's eyes struggled to adjust to the sudden darkness. Her fingers brushed against the cold wall, searching for a light switch. Just as her hand found the switch and flicked it on, a faint glow emerged from the small compartment in the clock center. It pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat from another world. She stepped closer, mesmerized by the strange blue light. The air felt charged, buzzing softly as if alive. A leather-bound book lay half-hidden beneath the gears. Mila picked it up carefully, its cover embossed with the Grayson family crest. Opening the book, she found detailed notes, sketches of the clock mechanism, and cryptic warnings about the hour when time fades. One passage caught her eye. "Beware the hour when the veil thins. The past and present collide, and those who wander may be lost forever." Suddenly, a distant chime echoed through the tower. Midnight again. The walls seemed to pulse with an unseen energy. Mila's breath quickened as the room spun slightly, shadows twisting into shapes that flickered just beyond sight. She heard a soft creak behind her and spun around. In the faint light, a figure stood motionless, an elderly woman with piercing eyes. The woman's voice was calm but firm. You have come far, but not all truths are meant to be found. Mila's heart hammered in her chest. Who are you? She asked, voice barely above a whisper. I am the last guardian of the vanishing hour, the woman said. This clock holds a secret that must be protected. Every night, time fractures and those who do not belong are pulled into the shadows. Mila felt a chill run through her. But the people disappearing. Why are they taken? They are caught between moments, trapped where time no longer flows. Only those with courage and purpose can return. You must decide if you are willing to face the darkness to save them. The woman reached out, placing a small cold hand on Mila's shoulder. A sudden surge of visions flashed before Mila's eyes. Glimpses of lost souls, fractured time, and a shadowy figure manipulating the clock. As the visions faded, the woman whispered, "The vanishing hour approaches. Prepare yourself." Before Mila could respond, the lights flickered once more and the woman vanished into the shadows, leaving Mila alone with the ticking clock and a choice that would change everything. Mila stood frozen in the cold silence, the echo of the guardian's warning ringing in her ears. She glanced down at the leather-bound book, now heavy with the weight of centuries. She knew she had crossed a threshold. There was no turning back. Determined to learn more, Mila returned to her small flat in Ashbury and spread the book across her desk. As she read deeper into Thomas Grayson's journal, a clearer picture emerged. The clock was no ordinary timepiece. It was designed to trap moments, to hold fragments of time itself. According to the journal, Thomas had created the clock to protect the town from a curse, a shadow that fed on lost time and threatened to consume all. But something went wrong. The clock's mechanism began to fail, and with it, the barrier between worlds weakened. Mila's mind raced as she realized the missing people were victims of this breakdown. They were trapped in the fractured hour, lost between seconds, slipping further into darkness with every passing night. The journal hinted at a way to repair the clock, a secret component hidden in the original workshop beneath the tower. But the workshop had been sealed for decades, its entrance forgotten by time. That night, Mila returned to the tower under the cover of darkness. The air was thick with unease. She found a narrow door at the base of the tower, hidden behind overgrown ivy. With a push, the door creaked open, revealing a narrow stone staircase spiraling downwards. Every step echoed in the damp silence as Mila descended into the depths. The faint glow from her torch revealed dusty tools and broken parts scattered across the floor. At the center of the workshop stood a pedestal, empty except for a single ornate key lying in its center. Mila reached out and picked up the key. The moment her fingers closed around it, the air shifted. She heard the distant ticking of the clock, faster now, like a heartbeat racing towards some unseen climax. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the chamber, extinguishing her torch. In the darkness, Mila sensed something moving, watching her. Mila stood frozen in the pitch-black workshop, heart pounding in the eerie silence. The air was thick and cold, and every small sound seemed magnified in the darkness. She fumbled for her lighter, finally managing to spark a small flame. As the flickering light danced on the walls, Mila saw shadows shifting unnaturally, twisting and stretching like living creatures. A low whisper filled the air, a voice barely audible, calling her name. She gripped the ornate key tightly and took a step forward, the floor creaking beneath her feet. The shadows seemed to recoil, but a pair of glowing eyes appeared from the darkness ahead. Suddenly, a figure emerged. A man, aged and worn, with eyes full of sorrow and secrets. His voice was a tired whisper. "You should not be here. The clock's curse is older than you know." Mila's voice trembled. "Who are you?" "I am Elias Grayson, the last of the clockmakers. I tried to stop the curse, but time is a cruel master." He reached into his coat and pulled out a small mechanical device, cracked and rusted. "This is the heart of the clock. Without it, the barrier weakens. You must put it back before the vanishing hour claims more souls." Mila nodded, determination growing despite the fear. "How do I do it?" Elias handed her a faded map, marked with secret passages beneath the tower. "Follow the path carefully. Time will not be kind to you." Before she could ask more, the room grew colder, and the shadows closed in. Elias vanished, leaving only the echo of his warning. Mila knew the night was far from over. She clutched the key and map, ready to descend deeper into the unknown, where the line between time and oblivion blurred. Mila took a deep breath and steadied her nerves as she unfolded the fragile map. The lines marked a winding network of tunnels beneath the tower, places forgotten by time and sealed off for decades. Her only guide through the darkness. Clutching the ornate key, she found a loose stone near the base of the tower's interior wall, just as the map had indicated. With effort, she pushed it aside, revealing a narrow passageway leading downwards. The air grew colder as Mila descended, the faint sound of dripping water echoing in the silence. Her footsteps disturbed years of dust, and shadows flickered along the rough stone walls. Halfway down, the passage opened into a cavernous chamber lit by shafts of pale moonlight streaming through cracks above. In the center stood an ancient mechanism, a clockwork device covered in rust, its gears frozen in time. Mila approached cautiously, placing the ornate key into a matching slot. The mechanism shuddered, gears creaking and slowly beginning to turn. A deep hum filled the chamber, as if the clock was awakening after a long slumber. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ground beneath her feet. Dust fell from the ceiling, and distant voices whispered through the tunnels, voices of those lost in the vanishing hour. With the clockwork stirring, Mila felt a surge of hope. But she also knew the danger had only just begun. The ancient clockwork had begun to turn, its gears grinding with a sound that echoed through the tunnels like the slow ticking of fate. Mila's heart pounded with a mixture of fear and hope as she watched the mechanism awaken from its long sleep. The chamber around her seemed to pulse with a strange energy, and faint whispers drifted from the shadows, voices from beyond time, trapped in the vanishing hour. Mila strained to catch the words, but they dissolved like mist on the cold stone walls. She pressed onward, guided by the map and the whispers, her footsteps careful on the uneven floor. The passage narrowed, twisting deeper into the bowels of the earth, the air growing thick with the scent of old stone and forgotten memories. Suddenly, the path opened into a vast underground hall lined with mirrors, their surfaces cracked and tarnished. Mila's reflection fragmented into countless shards, each showing a different moment frozen in time. Glimpses of the missing townsfolk caught between seconds, their faces pale and eyes wide with silent terror. A chill ran down Mila's spine as a soft voice whispered from one of the mirrors. "Help us. Don't let the hour take us forever." Mila stepped closer, her fingers brushing the cracked glass. The mirror rippled like water, and for a moment, she saw a child reaching out to her from the other side. Then the vision faded, replaced by darkness. She turned to find the chamber's entrance sealed shut, the walls closing in like the ticking clock itself. Panic surged within her, but Mila forced herself to stay calm. The key and the heart of the clock were her only hope. Drawing strength from the whispered pleas, Mila searched the hall, her hands tracing the intricate designs etched into the mirror frames. She found a hidden lever disguised as part of the ornate decoration and pulled it with all her might. The mirrors shimmered and realigned, creating a pathway illuminated by a soft blue glow. It led deeper still into the unknown. Mila stepped forward, determined to face whatever awaited in the heart of the vanishing hour. Time was slipping away, but she would not let the shadows win. Mila stepped cautiously into the glowing corridor, her every sense alert. The air buzzed with power, as if the very fabric of time itself was bending around her. The path ended at a grand chamber where an enormous clock tower mechanism stood, its gears alive and spinning in perfect harmony. At the center was a crystalline heart pulsating with light, the source of the vanishing hour's power. Mila felt its energy thrumming through her, a mix of fear and hope surging in her veins. She held up the ornate key and gently inserted it into a slot in the heart. The clockwork hummed louder, its light brightening to fill the chamber with warmth. Suddenly, figures began to appear around her, the missing townsfolk, their expressions peaceful as they stepped free from the time trap. Among them was a child from the mirror, smiling softly at Mila. "You have freed us," a voice whispered, "and restored what was lost." Mila's heart swelled with relief, but she knew the hour's power came with a cost. The clock began to slow, its light fading. She had one last choice, to remain trapped as guardian of time or return to the surface and let the vanishing hour seal once more. With a final look at the freed souls, Mila chose to leave. As she ascended the passage, the chamber behind her sealed shut, the clockwork quieting to eternal rest. Emerging into the cool night air of Whitford, Mila felt the weight of her journey lift. The town was safe again, its people returned from the vanished hour. Mila carried with her not just the key, but a deeper understanding, that time's mysteries were meant to be respected, but hope and courage could overcome even the darkest shadows.